This morning show. My name is Johnny Hughes. Well, Professor Jonathan Fletcher is a specialist mathematics educator, teacher, professional development expert, and an assessment consultant. He joins us on the phone line now to contribute to the ongoing conversation about the licensure exam and matters arising. Prof, good morning. Thank you so much indeed for your time.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah.
How are you doing this morning?
Yeah, good, thanks. Yeah, you?
I am greater than Accra, sir.
Great.
Now, Prof, I'm sure you followed the conversations. The licensure exam has brought a lot of reactions, both in the public domain. Parliament has indicated that they will probe the matter. We have had other stakeholders within the educational space raising concerns. Somebody is in court suing the council over it. What will be your initial comment regarding the licensure exam, the outcome, and matters arising?
Okay, thank you very much. And I would like to take this opportunity to say hi to your cherished listeners. Yes, I've been following the story, and yesterday I had a chat with colleagues on this issue. I think there are a number of things that we need to look at. First of all, there are a number of questions that we need to ask ourselves. Whether teaching is a profession, or whether, and if it's a profession, whether teachers will have to go through a process, a form of assessment, before they are able to teach or before able to apply their trade, so to speak. I think we need to answer that question. And then we also need to find out whether the sort of training teachers, go through in the teacher education institutions is okay, is enough to help them to deliver the various curricula. I think these are three important questions. And it seems to me that the first question is whether teaching is a profession. I'm sure everybody will say yes. A lot of people will say yes for various reasons. And the second question then is that if it's a profession, then we have to ensure that people who actually go through the profession are able to deliver the various curricula that they're supposed to deliver. So I think the question, that's where we are now. If you ask me whether we need to ensure that the people who are going to teach, in our schools, should be ready to do the work, to do the job, so to speak, and I would say yes. And so I don't really have any challenge when it comes to licensure exams. I don't. I mean, it happens in law, it happens in medicine, it happens in nursing, it happens in many institutions, many professions. Because I remember that I have a background of financial mathematics, which is in the UK. I actually qualified as a valuer, and in that you need to go through an assessment. So even if you go through a university, you can go to a university and do a course in valuation, but after the course, if you want to become a chartered valuer, then you've got to go through the process. So it's not new to me. So I think that it's important for us to protect, our children who are going to be taught by teachers. Now, if you don't have a foolproof system that allows people to train as teachers, then of course you need that, particularly in this country, because there are a number of things that are challenging the way we train teachers in this country. And I always say that when I was trained to become a teacher, there were 35 of us in the class. Okay, and we would normally have 1 hour for per lesson and so on. Today, you don't have 35. Today, you have maybe 100, sometimes 200. And so, in the first place, because of numbers, you are not going to get the quality that you will get. If you're training, teaching is a profession. If you're training people to do that, you need a lot of time to do that. And so, in the first place, we have challenges, when it comes to training these teachers. Therefore, I wouldn't say that anybody who has come out of a teacher training program is 100% prepared to do the work. I wouldn't say that. People have got to learn on the job. And the first thing is to make sure that people who actually going to do the job, first of all, there should be that commitment there. And secondly, they should be prepared. I mean, if teachers don't have the content or the pedagogy adequate. They may have it, adequate to pass examinations. Now, remember, what's the pass mark in any examination in this country? Maybe 60%, 50% sometimes.
That's right.
So if anybody passes the examination and they get 50%, what we are saying is that, this person has got half of the skills and knowledge they need to do their work, and therefore they are ready to go and do it. Which itself is problematic. And therefore, these are two different things. Because if you look at the licensure exams, actually talking about basic things, basic numeracy, basic literacy, and professional, practice. So this is the time that you really, really, want to make sure that we're going to get these people to go and teach our children, and want to make sure that they are ready. I think if they are not ready, they shouldn't do the job in the first place. The fact that they've gone through the teacher training program, for me, is neither here nor there, because the system is such that it's very difficult. I mean, how can you assess 100 people, 200 people, who are doing a practical, course like a teacher training program? Accurately, it's difficult. It's really difficult. And so you need to find a way of making sure that before they go and teach, then they are ready to do the work. So that's my take on this. I think I have nothing wrong with I don't see anything wrong with the licensure examination, because it helps everybody, to make sure that we are the right people. Yeah.
Okay, Prof. Now let's look at some statistics, because you're a figures man. All the candidates who sat for the 2023 licensure exam were resitters. 58% of them were first-time resitters. 26% of them were second-time resitters. And then 15% were third-time resitters. Now, again, if you look at the mass failure, you have about 84% of the graduates who sat for the 2023 exam who failed. About 87% of them are resit candidates, failed again in literacy. Overall, there were 14 cases of exam malpractices, impersonation, and copying from mobile phones. Do you consider these a national security issue?
So do I consider? I didn't get it.
Do you consider, to have such quantum of people write and fail in something as maybe simple as literacy, a national security issue? Because these are the ones who will be going to the classrooms eventually. Considering the fact that they are resitting some up to a 9th time, that's a worry, is it not?
Yeah, it is worrying. Yeah, but I'm surprised it's worrying. So that's the point I'm making. The point I'm making is that, I find it very difficult to understand certain things in this country. Now, when I was going to be trained as a teacher, I went through a program. I went through a common entrance. I had to take an entrance examination, right? And when I completed, I had to take an exit examination. And, of course, in my time, there wasn't licensure examination. But the point I'm trying to make is that now you have a situation where people just enter these institutions with WAEC results. The WAEC results are kind of generic. Okay, so you were saying that everybody can enter if they get it. That's fine, but I think if you are entering a profession, there must be something. There must be interviews. You have to find out, the commitment of because a lot of people who go through these programs, they see teaching as a kind of last resort, and people are seeing this as a stepping stone. And I don't think the commitment is there. That's what worries me. That's because if the commitment is there, then we shouldn't be getting the results that we are getting. So if at this stage, people have gone through the program and they are successful, which means that they've got to pass the exams and everything, and you give an assessment which, in terms of level, is not even as high as the ones they went through, and they are not able to do it. Then it seems to me that the commitment is not there. They were not going to be teachers in the first place. So that's the point I'm trying to make, is that we need to make sure that the right people enter into teacher training institutions to undergo training. If we leave it the way we are living it, we're going to have this. And there again, the more you get people in and you don't match it with the right resources, that's what you're going to get. Because how can you have 100 people, teachers, you're training them. They are not just, you're not giving them theory, you're training them. And elsewhere, they teach in the first place. Elsewhere, the teachers are not even trained in institutions like that. Teachers are going to teach in schools. That's where they are trained. Teachers stay in the schools. They have training classes. They work with real teachers. Then if it's a university program, they only go to the university maybe once or twice a week. For 3 days of the week, they are in the school where they're getting the training from year one till they finish. Now here we pack all these people in a college or in a university, 100, 200 people, and we are talking about that is not teacher training. You can only talk about it. You cannot train teachers that way. So we need to find resources. Make sure that every teacher. I tell you what. Look, I train teachers in the United Kingdom, and the highest number of teachers I trained in the United Kingdom was 12, 2.
I see.
And we met twice a week, 6 hours. Right? So you have 12 people. You meet them 6 hours. It means that everybody has got 30 minutes of your time. And everybody will have the chance to demonstrate some kind of skill in teaching.
Right.
Now, if you give me 100 people with 2 hours, it means that, what does that mean? You can't even get one person cannot even get 5 minutes. That's the sort of problems that we have in this country when it comes to teacher training. We are not training teachers. We are talking about teacher training in this country. And that's what you're getting, which is why now the time comes to actually examine the people on professional matters. They are not able to do it because they have just gone through the system. And how many of them would have from day one have the opportunity to even try their hands on practical aspect of teaching? The good news is that there has been teacher reforms in this country. Right. And for the past 3 years, there is a new curriculum that the teacher training college of education, college of education are running. My hope, and I believe strongly that if you look at that curriculum, and if the trainers are doing what they're supposed to do, which I believe they are, then of course that would have actually found a way of addressing this issue. So I am only waiting patiently for next year to find out what happens in the licensure examination with these students who have gone through this reformed program, which is a 4-year B.Ed program. That I believe that it won't be as what we are saying. And a lot of people that have failed have gone through different programs, not this particular program that I'm talking about.
Prof, there's also the thinking of garbage in, garbage out. So, for example, there's a new thing around here where you can't discipline a child through caning. You can't repeat or sack a child for low academic performance. There are students who are enrolled from the basic school. Whether they pass with good grades or not, they get to be injected into the secondary school system and onward into the university system or teacher training colleges. And people say that the systemic graduation of people who may not necessarily have been fully baked is what we are seeing in the reflection at the licensure exam, because these candidates actually hold degrees and have actually served on the national service and have also done teaching practice. So how did they get there? That's the question.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's really difficult. How much teaching practice did they get, and who went there to supervise them? Well, as I said, a lot of things are going on, and because take for example, if you have 100 teachers, right, that you're training, teacher trainees, one teacher has 100 teachers who are responsible and who they're responsible for. Now, how many of these can they even have a one-to-one sessions with them? That is impossible. Whereas elsewhere, when you are training, every student teacher will have a one-to-one with a tutor, and they discuss issues about training and education and teaching. That doesn't happen in this country. You can't do it. It's impossible, and therefore it's like producing people on conveyor belt. That's what's happening. That's the truth. And so we don't have enough resources to do teacher training. And of course, you can't stop people from accessing tertiary education. That's what I'm saying. So the difficulty is everybody wants to access tertiary education. You haven't got enough resources to make this system work. And so there's so much pressure on these teachers, and therefore they're not going to be able to train the teachers as they should have trained them. That's the point I'm trying to make. And therefore, we need to, first of all, for me, we need to make sure that we stop this garbage in, garbage out. There shouldn't be garbage in. Before anybody wants to become a teacher, they've got to go through a system and at least interviews to ensure that this person is ready for the profession. Otherwise, we will see this over and over again.
Some believe that the results that we have, which has become the subject of our conversation this morning, is not a true reflection of the exam, because government is trying to fail a lot of these teachers just so they can have a leeway, because there's no money to employ people at this time. What do you say to that?
I wouldn't take that position seriously. I wouldn't. Look, I'm a teacher trainer, right? And I've trained teachers in the UK. I'm trained teachers in this country. I know the difference. So I wouldn't take that position at all. I wouldn't, seriously, because as I said, the training that they're getting, and I'm not blaming anyone, the training that they're getting it's not enough to prepare them to deliver the various curriculum that we have, which is why it's important that when they come out, teachers must meet on a regular basis to support them to deliver the curriculum. It's difficult. Going through this program, even if it's 4 years, you are spending, a few weeks in school teaching. That is not enough. And therefore, when they come out, yes, you still continue the professional development. That's why you bring them up to speed. If we don't do that, then we're going to have challenges, serious challenges.
And I'm looking at the future, Prof.
Yeah.
For those who may have sailed through, I mean, if they passed with, say, 50%, 55% at the licensure exam, and they went through, literacy is an issue. We know that universities in this country do not teach grammar and spelling and all of that, because they are looking at the bigger things, building on what you have acquired from the basic school and the secondary tertiary level. I'm looking at the future. Could we have put our children in academic harm's way, sort, by not having this licensure exam over time?
By not having the licensure exam?
The licensure exams over time. The licensure exam started not so long ago. So teachers
absolutely. No, I agree. I agree with you. I mean, absolutely. I mean, I said this in 2015. It's 8 years ago. That should have happened before now. Absolutely. So, yes, and that's what we are getting. That's exactly what we are getting now.
But there are those who also say that the licensure exam should be abolished.
Well, I wouldn't support that. If you ask my opinion on that, I wouldn't support that 1 minute. Because if you abolish it, you must make sure that must make sure there's no garbage in, garbage out. That's the only thing. If you abolish it, then you've got to make sure that the people who are actually getting are the people who are going to come out and become, teachers, committed teachers, successful teachers. Otherwise, you cannot. There's no justification for abolishing it when we haven't got that thing in place. That is my take on this.
Prof, I thank you very much indeed for your time. I know you have a meeting to attend.
Yes.
Thank you so much. We're grateful.
You're much welcome. Yeah, sorry, you're most welcome.
As always, that's Professor Jonathan Fletcher. He is a specialist mathematics educator, teacher, professional development expert, and an assessment consultant. He's a trainer of teachers, as well as 18 minutes past 8 here on 3FM 92.7.
3FM Sunrise.
Well, let's continue the conversation. 19 minutes after 8, 3FM 92.7 Sunrise Morning Show. My name is Johnny Hughes. Eric Tete Floku is joining us in studio. He is also, shall I say, he identifies himself as a victim because he took the council to court in 2018. He was the first batch that wrote the licensure exam. He is of the firm belief that the results that we have may not be the reflection of what actually transpired during the exam. Let's interrogate it. Eric, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Good morning.
Why do you say that the results we have now, or why do you think that the results we have now is not a reflection of the actual situation?
Well, Jody, good morning to your listeners this morning. I'm saying this because myself, I happen to be a victim. When I sued the council, my exam was, they told me I was engaged in examination malpractice. And so I was invited by CID Medina to go through a certain process. Based on that, they told me that they cannot release my exam results for me. It wasn't me alone. We were actually four who sued the council on behalf of the teacher trainees at that time. And so three of us, our results were because we were on the media engaging, saying all sort of things about the cancer. So we thought that at that time, because we were hard on them, they were trying to find a way and then sideline three of us. So Johnny, I called my lawyer, Eli Magbemaba then. He was a lawyer.
Right.
So I called him that that was a challenge then. So he quickly, I didn't know if he called them, I wouldn't know. But later we realized that a few weeks after I placed the call to the lawyer, results were released. And Johnny, I'm saying this because, when we sat for the exam, for me, I did pure science college. I'm a maths and science teacher.
Right.
And when you go to the colleges, we do different types of courses. That we have the general. A lot of people, even some do early childhood. So Johnny, it will not be fair to write the same exam. But when you say literacy, all of us were given the same, exam to write. Because somebody did early childhood, probably do not understand what we call Pythagoras theorem, right? But we were all given the same questions to write. And
why would you say that? I mean, in secondary school, we all learned about Pythagoras theorem. We learned about simultaneous equations, dy, dx, all of those ones.
Johnny, the fact of the matter is that some did early childhood. When you go to PwC, they did early childhood, and then probably they have this basic mathematics they do. Right. They normally engage in this operant learning and all stuff. So when you go and give questions, that is on calculus questions. Johnny, it is a clear way that you want to sideline and reduce the teachers we're going to employ that very year. So that was the main reason why we said, look, if you want to do this, you cannot put all of us together in one box and say, go and sit for this exam. At least you should have exam based on the course you studied at the college. And Johnny, I saw you this morning with some of the letters, and I was so disappointed.
Why were you disappointed?
And I do not believe that this is indeed teacher trainees who wrote some of these things.
Why do you doubt
I'm saying this because Johnny, some of the things that I read when you were doing your show this morning, because look, if you don't pass through BC, Johnny, you can't go to senior high school. Johnny, if you don't go through senior high school, you don't pass through, you can't go to training college. And ideally, we have, I have all my, set here. Johnny, it means that for me, I still believe that based on what I saw this morning on your platform, I believe somebody might have gone, to sit somewhere, conjure certain people to, put up, this thing just to disgrace and, dent the reputation of the teaching career. I believe it is not fair from the council.
You are ascribing criminality.
Well, to me, because Johnny, if you don't pass BC, you can't go to senior high school. If you don't pass senior high school, you can't, enter any tertiary education in Ghana. And are you telling me, because what I read this morning on your platform, Johnny, it tells me that, look, how do these people get their way into, some of these colleges?
But Eric, you do know that, as I mentioned to Prof, there are people now, and we have all been worried because our grade A schools, as we knew it then, if you don't get a certain cut-off grade, there was no way you were going to get into an Achimota school or Presec or Wesley Girls or Accra Academy or, a Disadel or any school like that. Now we have people with aggregate 45, 38, and we have had parents come on air to say somebody had 42, he's in school, my child had 35, and he has not been posted. So that's what I'm talking about. We do also know, if you are a teacher, you also know that people are just promoted over time. They are not necessarily repeated because they performed poorly. All right? They are not sacked because they performed poorly. We believe now, per the new policy we have, that everybody must go through the system, whether you had aggregate 60, 65, 48, 32, whatever it is. Is that not the case,
Johnny?
So when you make the case that you can't go to the university if you haven't passed your WASI, you can't go to SHS if you have not passed your BEC, I find it quite problematic.
Johnny, the fact of the matter is that, yes, I understand what you're saying. There is a big loophole within the education system. Because when I came out to go and do my observation, one of the things I got to know was that, Johnny, teachers who were trained at college, who did technical courses there, were teaching in class 2. Johnny, that is a big problem. And I still believe that we should not politicize education issues in this country. because where we are heading towards, Johnny, is not good for the health, for the future of this country.
Where are we heading
I
towards?
believe, look, but what I'm seeing, I still doubt it. I believe national security, should invite the council to probe them. I still want to push further, because based on what I'm seeing on air, Johnny, it does not reflect what teachers were taught at colleges. Because even UCC, do you know they also scrutinize the system?
Right.
When you write the exam, level 100 first semester, and you have a reset, you are allowed to reset. If you don't pass, you are going home. So Johnny, even before you get to the final year, it means you might have gone through, a very tough process. So seeing some of these things there, I mean, in fact, I still doubt it.
It was based on this doubt that you went to court in 2018. What was the outcome of your effort?
Well, I felt that we were not taken seriously. We were sidelined, because when you look at the Education Act 2008, Act 778, that established the National Teaching Council. John, do you know there was a policy framework designed for this whole license issue? I want to send it to your producer I just want to read a portion to you.
Right.
Now, on this license issue, do you know we are not supposed to sit down and write any exam?
What are you supposed to do?
Yes. Now there was a new criteria of ranking teachers here. So when you say you're a beginning teacher, on page 15 of that document, it says that all professional teachers shall be issued a provisional teaching license by NTC upon graduating from an accredited teacher education program in a college of education or teacher education university. That is Education Act 2008. Teachers with provisional license shall be classified as a beginning teacher. All beginning teachers shall undergo induction and attain required initial insert program with the first year of their teaching career. So at the moment you come to say, look, let's go and sit down and write examination with no materials to read and write the exam, Johnny, I think it is a way to silence the teachers and reduce the number of people who are going to employ that.
But what exactly is the exam asking for, which teachers do not already know? I mean, even us who are not teachers this morning, we're trying to answer some of the questions that were, the multiple choice questions that were given to the candidates to write.
And for the records, the results you are seeing on air, they are not teachers who are writing the exam. They are reciters, okay? People who sat the exam since 2018, they didn't pass, and they were added. Some had written it even 9 times, some 7 times, and they still can't pass. And you see, for the first one, that was a maiden one, Johnny. Look, before you read the question, all right, the question happened to be like a passage. By the time you are done reading the question, read the possible answers, you have forgotten the question itself. You understand?
How?
No, that was a maiden one. So I believe that, Johnny, the issue of licensing teachers, I don't have a problem with it. All right? But the modus operandi deployed, look, if we need to get, Augustine Tebia, the then executive secretary to the council, then said they were going to sanitize the system because teachers were not upgrading. But that was why we had those teacher unions, NAT, NAGRAT and Co. They are there to also help the council design a policy framework to offer upgrading courses for teachers. You understand? Insert programs. But do you know that this thing that you are saying, those who were in the system already were indeed, they were not going to write the exam, they will only build their professional continuous professional development. Johnny, I still think that let's look into this matter, because the results I'm seeing here, it is not a true reflection of what I'm seeing.
I'm struggling to understand how you are so confident in this conclusion that it is not a reflection. I'm struggling, honestly. You
Johnny,
have to help
look,
me.
For the first one that that was a maiden one, we had a challenge. The mathematics, that was a numeracy paper leaked 3 days before the main exam, and so
look, there's one showing on our Facebook page, and if you go on 3FM927, you see it. Question 12. Bring back that so we can see question 12. Question 12. It should be easy to answer for our man in studio. Eric.
How can it? How?
Now it says if the estimated value after 3 years is 15,000 Ghana cedis, by how much does a machine depreciate each year? This one. You said this one is out of the way.
Johnny, I'm not interested in this. of G's. I'm focusing on the written aspect.
So you see, but this, see,
come on,
use the information below to answer question 12 and 13. A high school purchases a new printing machine at the cost of 24,000. The school estimates that the equipment depreciates in value by a fixed amount each year. If the estimated value after 3 years is 15,000 cedis, by how much does the machine depreciate each year? These are your options. You see, this one, a teacher should not be able to answer this. If he's going to teach in school and you are making a strong case, I'm struggling,
Johnny,
my brother. Are we not worried about quality?
We are worried about quality and not the quantity. But
Right.
you know, some of these things, look, it happens to everyone. Johnny, when I wanted to go to, there's a police service and all stuff, the exam we wrote, Johnny, when I came, I realized, look, I had a lot of them wrong. You understand? When we're comparing, but I'm talking about the written aspect where a teacher cannot even construct a simple, a grammatic. I don't know what to say, Johnny. I mean, are you not worried about what you're seeing? How can this person pass even BEC? I mean, that is my worry. Well, there's some of these issues. It can happen.
But the
use of G's, it happens to everyone.
But then the BEC issue, we have all agreed that if somebody even had 48, they still will get a secondary school in this country. They will be placed. Either the system will place them or they will place themselves. CSSPS will place them or they will place themselves. I lie?
You're right.
What I wanted to add is that
No, I want him to answer that question first.
Johnny, you're right, but
so that the person may not have passed, but the person still will get into secondary school anyway. So that's that gap which used to be there, that gatekeeper role that we all went through. I mean, I wrote 12 12 subjects, right? William did common entrance, went to do A level, O level, blah blah, and at every stage you had to pass. Ellen also wrote yours was how many subjects at BC?
10 subjects, yeah.
So you had to pass with a good aggregate before you made it to the next stage. Now we have mixed everything together. So whether you passed, the person who had aggregate 10 or 10 once, and the person who had 52 are all in secondary school. So what are you saying?
Johnny, yes, you're right, but this same criteria is not given when you want to apply to go to the tertiary. You understand? They have the cutoff point there. If you don't qualify, you find your way out. What I'm saying is the people who are given chance to go and study at the colleges, Johnny, it's no joke. UCC will take you through a very stiff process. So for you to get to the final stage where you go out to do your mentee, Johnny, it is not an easy task. So when you are done and you are asked to go and sit down and write license exam, and you do you also know, when you go to college, we have this action research that we normally write. You understand? And so if a teacher cannot write a simple, a statement there, Johnny, how can the person even pass? Because if you have a refer paper, you cannot graduate. You understand? So I still find it very hard. How did this person write the action research? How did you go through all this process? You see, getting here, it is my worry. What I'm seeing here on the board is my worry, Johnny. I am not worried about, look, it is true when you get even like 45, you are asked to go to school today. Your days, it was not like that. But in our era, we're not worried about, we're not concerned about quality, but it's just the quantity because of, I don't know.
You should be worried too.
Yeah, I'm worried because it is dangerous to the future of this country, and we are going to face it. You understand? And so I still believe that the council should come clear because the written aspect is where my worry is.
William.
Thank you.
the written aspect is what I wanted to discuss. You mentioned that, all those individuals had passed exams at certain stages to get to where they were before they took this exam.
Yeah.
But it doesn't indicate that the person will be able to write the way the exam expects them to write. That's my understanding as I sit here as an editor. because you see, you spoke about the fact that they didn't give you materials, but they mentioned the areas that the exam will cover. Did they? Numeracy and literacy. Is that it?
Yes.
Okay. So then if they come with spellings and you are not good at it, it doesn't matter whether you pass your BEC or, because those words, if you don't know them, you don't know them. For instance, if you are talking about withdraw, okay, and you don't know how to spell withdraw, it doesn't mean
and you write
whether you have a PhD,
redraw.
You have a PhD, but I saw that word.
Redraw instead of withdraw.
So sometimes I'm looking at maybe in terms of the person's fundamentals, how he started, and I would want us to look at that more, because when you look at the BEC, the basic education that we have today, all those individuals who are studying under trees, who are studying on the floor, they will also pass through the system and become teachers, and their fundamental appreciation of the language may not be as high as this exam may even expect them to get. Because as for school, you said they write. You mentioned something that you have to write some paper.
Yes.
When you are in the university, I mean, we know how people do their work in there. Apart from the one that you sit in class to write, assignments and things, people just produce.
They
things.
get people to write.
You know,
them.
I know people. No, I've gone for people even these days at the master's level. A whole from page 1 to the end. The person who presented it doesn't know anything about it.
Proposal to
you know
chapter
what I mean?
1 to
so I want us to have a broader
review.
discussion and appreciate the fact that there may be challenges in the system, but for us to just say roundly that you don't believe what the NTC is saying because you don't believe that somebody who has gone through the system can write this, that one as I did it, I can say that it is possible. Yes. Look, yes. If even here, if you put some words down, every day we meet them. Words. I mean, if you don't know them, you don't know them. And I give an example, withdraw. I saw one, they said middle. And the spelling was MIDILL. Somebody can write middle.
Oh, yes.
Punctual. It was PONTUAL. Punctual. That's how he hears it. So these are very, very, possible happenings.
It's a critical.
So for you to say that because somebody has gone through the mill from
primary school
to
second cycle to tertiary.
As for that, people write books.
Yeah.
And if you look at the book that they've written or the script, there are a lot of issues. So, and you see, yours is critical because you're a teacher, you are going to impart that knowledge directly to the kids. So the appreciation of the medium of communication, that is the English, must be very high. That's why we are having these issues. So if we all appreciate that, and then look at how we can solve it from the beginning. That's why I'm happy that the system is now looking at basic education too, because you using the university, work to indicate that the person has passed, so he must be good in this kind of writing. It's not on because we've gone to the university and we know how things happen in terms of presenting work. You know, research especially. You mentioned a certain paper that you write. What's the name of the paper again? Once you don't sit in the classroom to write. As for that, once it's outside the classroom, anybody can go and bring, especially these days with AI and things. You just type your question and they will give you the answer. Even now, there are softwares that when you present your assignment to the lecturer through the platform,
turn it in.
It will indicate to you how much you stole from the internet.
You plagiarized.
Before they grade you. Are you aware?
In fact, recently.
Are you aware?
In fact,
Did you use that software?
No.
So we shouldn't be too quick to say that it is not possible. We should say that it may be possible, and let's see how we can encourage our brothers and sisters to also appreciate the fact that maybe it's not their fault. Some people don't have that basic training in terms of from nursery. It shows.
Yes.
You know, your language and understanding of basic. When I went to write a certain exam, I never knew that there was going to be mathematics.
Right.
I didn't know because of the program I was going to do. But because I was helping my daughter with her homework based on my O-level mathematics, it was my daughter's homework that helped me to pass that.
Yeah,
so it was
done your refresher course.
Yes, you know,
on your own.
Exactly, and because I also had that basic training for my O-level from 1 to 5, I was doing modern maths, not add maths, modern maths, and I was
that's now core maths.
Yes, I was helping my daughter to do her homework. But somebody may not have that opportunity. People don't. I don't know where you attended
do
your
you
primary
teach,
school.
Eric?
I'm a teacher.
You're a teacher
Yes.
in a public basic school.
Yes, yes, public.
And you're happy with the quality in our schools?
Johnny, yes, there's a problem with
There's
the
a
system.
problem.
But There's a problem. There's a big problem. You see, sometimes I also feel that, look, as a country, we are not doing well.
No, I asked you a question. Are you happy?
I am not happy.
Okay. Now you can explain.
Thank you. I am not happy.
Now you can explain yourself.
About what is in the system. Because, Johnny, when you can't compare those schools in where I teach to other schools here. You understand? As a country. But they go and sit for the same exam.
Exactly the point I was making.
You understand? So, there is a problem. Okay? When you go to my area, I'm a science teacher. And what I teach is all about theory.
That's right. But you're supposed to be practical.
I do improvise. But it is not enough. This same kid to go and sit with those in Accra, in Sawum, and then they go and compete with them. So, the Education Act, okay, we are supposed to have free and fair. Everybody needs to have access to. If you have an A here, it should be A down there.
There's no debate about that.
You see, we have come too far.
Does the same thing persist pertain in the colleges of education?
Probably, maybe I would say no because of the college I attended. We had everything over there.
Which college was this?
BCA Kropong.
Okay.
Mother of our schools.
Right.
Yes. And so we had all the facilities there. Johnny, when you go to the science lab, you enjoy and look, you are doing the science. I couldn't get even, A in my WASI when it comes to physics, but when I got there, it was simple. You understand? So I believe that we should do better. Okay.
So then if teachers are exposed to these things you're talking about, they should not have an excuse passing a licensure exam.
It depends. That's why I said, look, for me, I am lucky because of the school maybe I attended. It may not be same when you go to other college. Okay, so I cannot say in its entirety it is the same.
Then you cannot also conclude that this is not a reflection.
That was the confidence
Johnny,
that I was telling you.
Based on the face of the evidence that I've seen on the board.
Somebody can be in the class and write this for you.
Relax. I'm saying that we just tested your own hypothesis, and I'm saying that you say that you went to the mother of all teacher training colleges in this country. That's where you schooled, okay, and you had all the facilities. And then I asked you, does the complete nature of the facilities there reflect in all the other schools? You say you may not be able to tell. Okay, if that is the case, it means that some of the teachers probably may have been shortchanged, right? Because they may be science teachers or trainee science teachers, but then they do not have the requisite resources to be able to learn up to the quality and standard that you had the opportunity to do in a Kropong. So if they sit for a licensure exam, obviously you who had the benefit of everything else would be ahead of them. So that's why I was trying to find out where your confidence came from to say this one is wrong. I was trying to understand you, but now you have told us that we should not understand you.
I mean, the kind of exam they wrote, it had to do with writing.
Yes.
And you write with words.
Yes.
And I'm saying that there are a lot of challenges with appreciation of vocabs in our system now. Do you agree? There are a lot of challenges.
Johnny, it is different when you are writing an exam. Maybe there is a tension or something and you find it very hard to write a word. But it should not run or cut across the whole thing you have written.
But you said that these are individuals who are rewriting.
Good.
So it means the issue is still there.
So it means that the council should look, there are people who are still rewriting. But my point is, how did these persons get to the colleges? That is my worry.
We've discussed that.
We've discussed that.
Johnny, it is no joke. It is no joke anymore, because for me, some of these things, look, it can happen with OBGs. But with the written part, yes.
See, let me explain something to you. During the school exam, not this kind of exam.
Internal exam.
Very good. When the teacher is the one who has taught you, is in the school, you are answering a certain question and you are making mistakes with the vocabs. He can pass you because you've expressed the idea.
Right.
So if you write motivation and you spell it wrongly, he won't give you 0 for writing motivation wrongly. He will pass you. But this exam is demanding that you know how to spell motivation. If you get it wrong, you are out. Do you agree? If I'm teaching you regularly during the internal exam, terminal exam, okay, I ask you to answer a certain question, and I see from the top paragraph to the end, you are answering the question, but you are making a lot of mistakes in the vocabs, the words. I will not fail you. And that's what happens in the schools. You have appreciated the concept that you were taught.
And you expressed it.
You have expressed it. But this one is testing your ability and your command of the English language.
Literacy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why you will fail this. Not because you don't appreciate a certain you do science. Not that you don't appreciate the concepts in chemistry, physics, and biology. No, you understand. But when they tell you to write, this one is telling you that if you are spelling skeleton, don't get it wrong.
Don't go and type skeleton and say you are spelling skeleton.
You appreciate it. So if this one is telling that, look, we are not saying that give us the concept. Spell skeleton. You got it wrong. You are not a good teacher, and that is it. Skeleton. Because you can't come and teach my child. When there's a dictionary, you don't use the dictionary to learn how to spell words. You come and spell skeleton and teach my child the wrong spelling of skeleton, and she grows up with it. It will be a problem.
I have a question, a quick one, please. And this one is actually what's on the screen. I've been staring at question 12 the whole time. I thought the answer was correct, though.
But even the way they marked it, as if it was wrong first, and they marked it correct again.
Please, I want to know the answer before we leave today, because I thought the answer was correct. Did you get the same answer as I did? So why is it wrong? So why has it been marked wrong?
No, but if you look at this one, it doesn't look. The marking is not like this.
So is it legitimate that something could be alright? Because the answer is correct and it's marked wrong.
The wrong one is this.
The
wrong one is this, but this one, as if the man.
This one too looks like it. It is wrong.
It's the work of the
government. No, I mean, I think
it's the work of the devil.
Because the question has been answered correctly, but as per this script, it's marked wrong.
Helen, you have to show working for us to come to this.
The man's interest is in the written.
No, I did a quick one. They say a high school purchases a new printing machine at a cost of 24,000 cedis.
Right.
The school estimates that the equipment depreciates in value by a fixed amount each year. If you take 15,000 away from 24, you get 9,000. 9 divided by 3 is 3. The person has answered correct. Now we have 0. Is this a legitimate script? Okay. Is this real?
I'm saying that.
William, speak into the microphone for me, please.
Answering your question, if you look at the question, the previous question, the way they've marked it wrong, you see the sign is time cross. But this one, it was like that, and then it's correct again. So maybe they gave it to the student had it. Maybe we don't know the fact that
this one is like a secret here.
Well, if you see what I'm inferring, if you get what I'm inferring,
but I'm concentrating on his written part, the written part of the exam.
It's a fair point.
As for that,
yes, you can. We can examine the material that we get.
The written part, we
have to go. Eric, your closing thoughts.
Yes,
I know you have to go back to TV.
Johnny, I still believe that there should be a committee to investigate this matter.
Parliament wants to probe.
Well, they need to probe some of these things. You know why? I want them to go back and then, check their, from BEC, they should check, they should get the names, okay? And probe into this matter.
Check their results.
Check it. If somebody is behind us, the person should be taken on.
I see. Okay.
You cannot do this to the education sector.
Okay.
Johnny, you can't simply do this to
you
the education sector.
You cannot do this. Okay.
Because you are teachers, they didn't give you any leeway at all.
My goodness, this is
correct.
Because you are going to impact
knowledge.
Go ahead.
And do you know the funny part of it? Now, we are supposed to build our CPD, this continual professional development.
Right.
We were given a provisional license. Within 4 years, you need to go and build that one.
Right.
We have service providers who run services without even giving us a point on the dashboard.
So that one is an internal matter, because I know the nurses also do provide services, and then they get points, and then at the end of the year they go and renew their licenses. They write the same license.
The policy framework we have, we are not supposed to pay money to those service providers.
Okay, so now this is another issue.
That is it.
It is not.
And even if we have it, they still don't reflect the point on our dashboard.
Will you go to court again?
Well, I'm thinking about, because when you take them on, Johnny, they come after you.
Okay, well, on that skeletal note, let's play Kelewu.
3FM Sunrise.
A doctor friend of mine sends me this. He says, Johnny, I have been following silently your bite. What happens over the years is all spheres that government has permitted into the very 5 areas that should not be manipulated by politicians. The very 5 you keep hammering. Where I studied, JHS to university, and to my specialization in Cuba, everything is structured not to fail. Cuba doesn't implement programs for immediate results in any aspects. Unfortunately, it's the Cuban education system Rawlings PNDC poorly implemented. In Cuba, the academic year begins 1st of September in all academic institutions nationwide, unless the 1st September falls on weekends. But July 1st, all academic facilities, crèche to nursery, must have submitted their readiness or otherwise to the Ministry of Education. In assessment of the outcome, the whole system is assessed from the student, family to the minister and the Ministry of Education. In the medical school, and this one is a medical doctor, if 5 to 10% of the students fail in a particular subject, you can trace the challenge to student family. That is where the SRC, PTA, CDRs, 31st December movement, etc. come into play. Generally, these students also perform poorly in all subjects except probably physical education. 10 to 20% failure is the fault of the teacher of that particular subject, easy to measure with other subjects. 20 to 30% failure is the fault of the school authorities. This is likely to occur in more subjects. A comparison with other schools: there's no well or less endowed school in Cuba. Those in remote areas are advantaged in education. 30% or more failure is the fault of the ministry or government. In all this, heads must roll. 1. How can more than 50% of students fail nationwide and the heads of training institutions, Minister of Education, Director General of GES, leadership of NAGRAT, NAT, concerned teachers, parliamentarians are still at post? 1. Distant education in all its forms must be scrapped in all undergraduate programs in education. Health and agric students don't even access the practical experience of farms and hospitals and clinics and all of that when they are physically present. People finish nursing without having given injection on the buttocks before. To be continued. Doc, I wait for further and better particulars, but this is the doctor's truth. And that's why we always follow Cuban doctors, because when they come with a certain quality and expertise. When you see them, you see them. When they touch you, you feel them.
Do we have any standards in this country?
Boss, even the Standards Authority requires
standards in this country. So the education system, there are issues there. I mean, I'm looking at even the basic level.
That's the foundation.
Yeah. And this thing is numeracy and thing. This exam they went to write. It's just a foundation. It's a foundational problem.
Numeracy and literacy.
It is.
Finish.
But if you look at the person's certificates from university and training college, you get it wrong. Look at his
numeracy,
yes,
and literacy.
You know,
we'll take a break.
When we come back,
my people, Philadelphia, our very own Adansi Travels is 10 years old. Hey. Wow. I hope you remember what they did on their 5th anniversary with a 555 figure and even the power of 8.
Then this will be a 10-day thing.
That is right. We are going on a 10-day adventure in Dubai on a chartered Emirates flight full of